Like
They follow you.
Like if you have a lot of cattle, right? People here take care of cattle out there in Sedona. We saw it when we went on the pink Jeep tour. You have to move them around a lot. And you got to move them to the right spot where there's grass. And you got to know your terrain really well. You got to know over that hill there's a river, and over that one. You got to know where everything is when you're an animal herder. So Pushan knows where everything is. And he knows how to get from one point to another. So don't forget about Revati. This nakshatra is smart.
Yeah.
It's an intelligent nakshatra. In fact, all the Mridra nakshatras, which are characterized as being feminine, right? Because they're affectionate, loving, they're the smart ones. That also gives you a clue. The feminine nakshatras are the smart ones. Revati is smart, Anuradha is smart, Chitra is smart, Rohini is not. Mrigashirsha, smart. Mrigashirsha is smart, Revati is smart, and the other two. This one's real smart because it knows how to get to a place. It knows how to get to a goal. It knows how to accomplish its deed effectively. Okay? A lot of vegetarian tendencies will come from here. Animal protectors, animal rescue. A lot of that comes from this god and this nakshatra. People who are spontaneously vegetarian, a lot of it comes from this. Especially if you put Mars there, it softens up Mars too, or Sun. Now this guy, Mr. Vayu, is another child of Aditi. He's one of the Vasus. The Vasus are also children of Aditi. He's Swati. Swati is all about independence. It's the star that's the furthest north of the ecliptic. It's the most far away from the pack. You got to get it goes away from everybody else. Vayu blows, right? The Vayu blows things away. So Swati is about leaving the pack. A little bit different than Pusha, which is like herding. Revati is like herding and bringing people together. And Swati is like, see you guys later, I'm going to go and do this. You guys, you can be into whatever you're into, but I'm into this. That's the Swati attitude. And I don't really need you. And these people will separate a lot from family traditions and inherent cultures. Can be good or bad. You can come from a lousy family tradition and wind up a great person. Or it can be bad. You can come from a great family tradition and wind up a lousy person. Now, it's all about individuality. Vayu, he's not just the wind. He's also just air. He's the god of air. So you need air. It doesn't just blow, but we breathe it. And the stuff that we breathe is called prana. The closest thing I can say in English for prana is oxygen. Prana is oxygen. It's the essential part of air that we need. And oxygen lets fire burn. So it's the thing which is connected with Indragni, is prana. Vayu lets Indragni burn, so it keeps the mind fused to your nervous system. If this guy gets up and leaves, you're gone. You're finished. There's a story in the Upanishads that the gods were, of course, contesting with each other. Who's the strongest? So Surya said, I'm the strongest. Watch what happens when I leave this guy. Gets up and leaves, and the guy can't say anything. Walking in the stuff. See how strong I am? Sits back down. Chandra says, that's nothing. Watch what happens when I get up and leave. Boom, Chandra gets up and leaves, and the guy's like, huh? What? Huh? How do you speak? I don't know how to speak. He loses his mind. Chandra's controlling the mind. Vayu doesn't say anything. Vayu just kind of moves his butt a little bit off the seat. And then all the other gods, they get up out of their chairs and start to run away. That's the story. So you see, prana, if you lose your prana, if you lose your air, your vision is done, your mind is done, everything else is done. So it's the most important thing for connecting us to our body. And what's the body? The body's the thing that individualizes us. You're a different individual from me. Why? Because you got different eyes than me, basically. If you had my eyes, then we would kind of see everything from the same perspective and be exactly the same person almost. So a huge differentiating factor is our bodies. The thing that links us to our bodies is the prana. It's deep fact. The prana is the force of individualization. And that's what Swati is all about. It makes individuals. And its symbol is sword. You sword, if you cut this thing in two, then you can separate them. So prana is cutting Atma from Atma, although it can't be cut. Nachindati, it's an illusion of being cut. But it's giving an illusion of, I'm different than you, I'm separate from you, I'll go my own way, different from you. Okay? We're almost done. We're almost done. This is the last part. Can we make it?
Yes.
The last part I want to talk to you about is the Trinity. So-called Trinity. I dislike the word. Because it implies to you that it's like something Catholic, with Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, but it has nothing to do with that. It's just three. For that reason, it's a Trinity? I don't know. But if you like it, you can use it. But I'm talking now, let's talk about Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. It's very surprising that we haven't talked about them that much. They're supposed to be the big three. So what's going on? Do the nakshatras not admit to the greatness of Vishnu and Shiva and Brahma? Does the Purva Veda, the original Veda, not care at all? This is a later invention. As culture evolved, they got into Vishnu, but originally they didn't give a damn. No. They're just more practical in the Purva Veda. It's more practical. You need corn, or whatever it is that you're growing, you need wheat. Let's show you how to grow wheat. After you got your basics down about how to survive, then you start talking philosophy. And so the first part of the Vedas is about, this is how you live, this is how you get married, this is babies, you raise them right, this is how you eat food, this is how you grow food, this is how you build a house, this is how you stay healthy. And then later, after later developments of the Vedas, start to give you philosophical ideas. When you get into philosophical ideas, these deities are the most important, Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. When you're into practical religion, then those other gods, Indra, Agni, Vayu, those are the most important gods. This will be reflected in the nakshatra. Because each one of these three has more than one, if you ask me. And I'll explain my view on this. They're the only devas that have more than one nakshatra. So it shows their greatness. Let's talk first about Brahma. He has two. Abhijit, Rohini. But he's slightly known differently in each one. In Abhijit, he's known as Brahma. Brahma means, the very word Brahm means to know. So Brahma is the one who knows lots of stuff. The guy who's got all the knowledge is called Brahma. That's why he's very important in the philosophical portions of the Vedas. Because he's the guy who's got it all. He's the original speaker of the Vedas. That's why the Vedas are also called Brahma. Brahma. So Abhijit, nakshatra, the word means cannot be defeated. Cannot be defeated because it is very smart. It knows the right way to do everything. That's Abhijit's nature. In Rohini, Brahma's not known as Brahma. He's known as Ka. A strange name, sounds like a crow. Ka, Ka. Why Ka? Vishnu is known as and Brahma is known as Ka. If you know phonetics, or the way that it's laid out in Sanskrit, is the base. You know, like tomato sauce is the base for Italian cooking? Is the base of all sound. You can't make a sound without going If you change the shape of your mouth, you can make an But those are just variations of So Vishnu's name is because that's what Vishnu is. The substance, the basis of everything. But Brahma's name is Ka because this consonant is the first one that you can produce here. The first station. You can produce consonants in 5 stations going up to your lips. The Ka is from here. Brahma's the first consonant. Vishnu is the first vowel. So Brahma's not, Vishnu is the substance that's being created with, like Play-Doh. But Brahma is like the child who's making stuff out of the Play-Doh. Vishnu is like Legos. And Brahma is like the kid, building things with the Legos. That's what Ka means. So Brahma really likes to build stuff, create stuff. That's what Ka means. And Rohini is just overflowing with the desire to make stuff, build stuff, create stuff. And Brahma is also called, here in Rohini, is also called Prajapati. Prajapati means the master of creation, but especially about praja, children. So he's the original procreator, is Brahma. So Rohini is sexy. It's one of the good sexy nakshatras. And it's a really good fertile nakshatra, very fertile one. Got a lot of passion to it. But I want to tell you a story that is one of the stories that I hate to hear the most. Not because it's so mistold. It's always mistold. This is the story of Brahma and his daughter. Brahma is the first created being. He's the first being. Do you know how Brahma was born? From a flower. From a flower. Flowers, do they have moms and dads? No, it's just pollen can go into its own stamen and make a new flower, make a fruit, make a seed. So you don't need moms and dads when you got flowers. Brahma doesn't have a mom. He's just got a dad, Vishnu. It's just a flower that comes out of Vishnu's womb from his belly button. And then Brahma comes on top of this flower. Then he makes everybody else. And he's got a big challenge. How do you make people when you're the only person? So he's got a huge test, and it gets a lot of frustration in trying to figure out how to do it. But when he finally figures out, I can do it by hand. I can take some material from myself and take some material from this flower, and I can create beings by hand, but it's very, very tiresome and difficult. But he manages to create the Sanat and those 4 Kumaras, and then Rudra is created. And then he creates Vak, which means words, speech. And he thinks, whoa. Because remember who he is. He's knowledge, Brahma. And he created words, Vak. So man, knowledge needs words. Now, you can't express knowledge without words. So Brahma is thinking, man, look at this woman. This is exactly the woman I need. If I can marry myself to this woman, imagine what we can create. Now, people will criticize Brahma, but she's your daughter. Give me a break. He's Brahma. There is nobody else in the world except for his children. You cannot criticize him that it's his daughter. This is not actually the moral of the story that it's his daughter. The moral of the story is something else. He said, wow, you're amazing. Let's get married. Or there's not actually marriage at this time in the universe, but put it nicely, let's get married. She says, but she expresses, well, you created me, so I feel like you're my dad. So I just can't do this. It doesn't feel right. He's kind of skeevy. So he says, no, come on, it's a great idea. She says, no, seriously, I'm not that into it. He's like, no, it's such a good idea. No, I really don't think so. No, come on, it's really great. No, right? So she starts to run. And her brothers are thinking, what the heck's going on here? Our father is acting really disgusting. He's acting terrible. Can't you hear her saying she's not interested? So the oldest son stops Brahma. He says, Dad, wake up. You're in a trance. Look what's going on. From Rohini, from his creative desires, creative urge, procreative urge, he got into this trance. And he couldn't hear this woman saying, I'm not interested in you, back off. So he kept coming on to her, and she kept backing off further. So the oldest brother said, cut it out, stop, wake up. And he didn't say, she's your daughter. He says, she's not interested in you. That's the moral of the story. The moral of the story is that rape is wrong. You can't force yourself upon a woman. And this is the original rape story. Well, it's not actually, it doesn't go that far, but it's a very seed form of a sexual aggression. So don't call Brahma a rapist or anything. It's a very seed form of a sexual aggression. But it's the original form of it. And it just shows that male nature is going to get put into a trance and be aggressive. So some checks have to be in place to prevent that from happening. So that's the difficulty of Rohini. It's very creative. It's got a lot of passion. but it can get itself into compromised situations because of that. You get too passionate about something, follow it a little bit too far, and then wind up in a compromising situation. But usually everything else about Rohini is really wonderful. Very creative, very intelligent, very enduring. It's a Dhruv nakshatra. Think about how long Brahma, his creations endure forever, the whole duration of the universe. Okay, almost done. Now let's talk about Shiva. We've been waiting to talk about Shiva. Shiva has 4 nakshatras. He's got Ardra and Mula and both Bhadrapadas. I'll tell you how he's got them. In the Vedas, you don't hear him addressed as Shiva. Does anybody know how he's addressed in the Vedas? Rudra! Right? What does Rudra mean? Howler. Howler! That kind of sound. Rudra also means I tear it apart. I rip it apart. When you make those kind of noises, you're not doing something nice, right? You're doing something kind of scary. Howler means ripping things apart. But I mean, what does Shiva mean? Anybody know what Shiva means?
Like blissful.
Calm, peaceful, happy, blissful, benevolent. Huh? Which one is he? Is he Rudra? Or is he Shiva? Well, that's a lot of the nature of these nakshatras, isn't it? What's one of the symbols of Bhadrapada? Two-face. Right? That's Bhadrapada nakshatra has this symbol, two-face. Rudra himself has these 2 faces. He's a vicious, howling destroyer, and he's a calm, self-realized yogi. In the same person. From his birth, he was born when Brahma was so frustrated. How the heck can I get this reproduction thing to work? He's always getting into these problems, which is getting like mutations and weird stuff is going on because he's got no gene pool. So how can I make this work? He gets so mad. Failed attempts. He finally creates his first quadruplets. And he says to them, my sons, I want you to help me create. And they say, no, Dad, we don't want to do that. We want to meditate. And I just spent like 65 millennia creating you guys so that you can help me create other beings. And you want to go meditate on a candle? You want to go meditate? Come on. But he's thinking, oh man, that's pretty awesome. These guys want to meditate. They're not interested in this temporary material world. I've created some awesome kids. So he doesn't know what to do. He wants to get mad at them and say, come on, know your place. Your dad told you what to do. And then he wants to say, no, this is great. My kids are great. So he's angry and he's trying to hold it in. And it's building up more and more. And unfortunately, my forehead has this, you can tell that I kind of am an intense person. Because I've got these marks from my eyebrows being together all the time. So this is what happens when you get angry, you furrow your brows. Because anger builds up here. And it's building up in Brahma and he's trying to hold it in. And then, I can't hold this in anymore. Gotta get it out. It popped out of his head. Falls on the ground and starts wailing. It's a baby. It's a baby, but it's not a boy. It's a boy, and it's also a girl. Half boy, half girl. 2 faces. 2 sides. It's blue on one side and red on the other side. It's also kind of dichotomies. But a lot of that is Bhadrapada nature. Dichotomies, weird dichotomies, splits, opposites. So Brahma says, this baby says, who am I? And Brahma says, well, I guess you're the shouter. I guess you're Rudra. I guess you're the howler. And then he says, well, what should I do? And Brahma says, split. And then the male became separate and the female became separate. And then Brahma said, do it again 11 times. I don't know why he said 11, but 11 is a Rudra number. Do it again 11 times. So then this boy and girl split into 11 different ones. And then he says, you go live in the person's anger, and you go live in the person's... Like, he gives them all this symbolic stuff about where anger can reside. And then they all say, okay, Dad, what should we do? And Brahma says, oh, great. Finally, I got a kid who asked me what to do. Make babies. We need people in this universe. So Shiva said, Tatastu, I'll do it. And Shiva, he even walked around Brahma, like so respectful. And hey, Rudra, the male form is called Rudra, female form is called Rudrani. Rudra, Rudrani. They split and they went to these two opposite sides of the nakshatras. And they went off and they made babies. But boy, they made a lot of babies. And so you get a lot of monsters all of a sudden in the universe. It doesn't have a lot of other stuff, a lot of howlers. So Brahma's like, oh great. And I filled up the universe with a bunch of destructive creatures. So he calls Shiva back, he calls Rudra back and he says, can you stop these guys from destroying everything? Please, I'm trying to create. And Shiva said, well, we can't stop. This is our nature. We're angry. We're born from your anger. How should we stop being angry? Brahma says, you can meditate. Meditate? Yeah, meditate. You just think about Vishnu. Just keep your mind in one spot. Don't let it go to what you're feeling or thinking. Just focus in on your source, Vishnu. Vishnu says, Rudra says, I'll try that. So Rudrani went up to the top of a mountain, Kailash. And he became the first person to perfect yoga. That's why, if you really study yoga, all of your padhatis will be from Shiva. Except for a couple like Yoga Sutra from the times of it. But most of the yoga paramparas will have Shiva as the param guru. Because he was the first one to perfect it, and then he taught others. He taught Parvati, they taught others, came down. So that's when he became known as Shiva. He came back to Brahma, it was all calm, peaceful. And Brahma said, well, I award you a new name, Shiva. You become peaceful, you become beneficent, you become benevolent. You know when and where to apply your anger. That's the key for Ardra nakshatra and Mula nakshatra. You're going to have tons of anger. You're going to have tons of this is bad, this is wrong. But you got to know when to apply. Don't just destroy the whole universe. Destroy the stuff that's bad. Apply it at the right time. All right. Now let's just talk about, so this is literally Rudra's nakshatra. It's going to have that nature of, it's going to want to tear things down. So it's going to be good for wanting to get past lies. That's why we find a lot of scientists and thinkers like that in it, because they want to get past lies. They tear down, somebody gives them an explanation of something, they tear it down. That can't be right. I got to look for something deeper than that. So Ardra, Mula, you get a lot of these thinkers that are just ripping through the fabric of reality to get down to the true core of it. A lot of spiritualists come from Ardra and Mula because they're not satisfied with the superficial nature of things. They're ripping it. What's really underneath? People that don't accept face value have a lot of these. Ardra, Mula. They can be very troubled. Einstein, that's why you got this person, Einstein. He's so troubled, and he's so violent. He's very vicious, but he's also so genius and so incredible. Now with the Bhadrapadas, they're a very interesting expansion of Shiva. Shiva, like Vishnu, has many avatars. And one of the avatars is amongst the Nagas. So one of the Nagas is actually an avatar of Shiva, an incarnation of Shiva. That avatar is called Ananta Shesh. And Ananta Shesh is the deity in both the Bhadrapada nakshatras. But he has two faces. One for Purva Bhadrapada and one for Uttara Bhadrapada. Ananta means no end. Anant, no end. And Shesh is what's left over when you're done. You eat some potatoes for breakfast at the restaurant, and there's a couple of crumbs on the plate when you're done. That's the Shesh. The stuff that's left over when you're done. When you do a division and you get a remainder, the remainder in math is called the shesh. So, Anant Shesh, what is the endless thing that's still going to be there when everything's finished? That's what Bhadrapada nakshatras, their real motivation is to figure out that question. Bhadra, pada. The mispronunciation of this word has big consequences. It's not pada, It's pada. Pada means foot. Pada means meaning. And Bhadra means auspicious. If you just grammar, you turn the vowel up one notch, it's in English the way we put it, apostrophe S. So Bhadra means about auspicious, about Bhadra. So Bhadrapada means the meaning of auspiciousness. The meaning, what's really good, what's really valuable, what's really pleasant, what's real happiness. That's what Bhadrapada is interested in. After I go through all these experiences, I'm going to try sex, I'm going to try drugs, I'm going to try rock and roll. And when it's all done, and I'm still feeling like I need something else, that's when you get to this period where you say Bhadrapada. Huh? What's Bhadrapada? What is really the happiness? That's when you get, that's the nature of those Bhadrapada nakshatras. The people with Uttara Bhadrapada, you get people who have already kind of figured it out, that it's not in external things. And so they get very detached from external things. And they have a very calm nature like Shiva. And with the first Bhadrapada, it's the people who are figuring it out. They're in the process of figuring it out. So they're actually like going through sex, drugs, rock and roll. And then they rip it up and they get money. And they rip it up and they get to the end and they start thinking about it. But there's a really, so you're going to see this. In all Shiva's nakshatras, they're very spiritual. He's a spiritual god. All the rest of the gods, they're all interested in blessing you with happy marriages and things like that. A nice home, good car. Shiva's not going to give you any of those blessings. Rudra gives you none of those blessings. He doesn't have a car. He doesn't have a horse. He's got a cow. That's his only possession. He's got a tiger skin. He doesn't have a wardrobe. He doesn't have a house. He's married. He has kids. He doesn't have a house. He doesn't need a house. He's got real happiness. He mastered meditation. He mastered yoga. He knows who he really is and how he's connected to Vishnu, the essence of reality. He doesn't need a house. He doesn't need a car. He's happy already. But that's what you can really get. Gotta go fast because even I'm getting tired. Shiva, yeah, that's enough. Any questions? Last one. Vishnu. Got three. They're all in a row. You start with Uttarashada, Shravana, and then Dhanishta. Really, you're all going to say, I agree with you right here. Here's Vishnu for sure. What are you talking about with these guys? So I'll tell you about those. First of all, what does Vishnu mean? It's like Varuna. It means everything. It means the essence of everything is Vishnu. What's the essence of everything? The conscious perceiver. You cannot have existence unless you have somebody to know that there's existence. You cannot have something that, what does real mean? Real means something that you can touch, feel. You can't have any reality unless there's something or someone who experiences reality. So the fundamental basis, or my favorite word, substrate, the substrate of reality is consciousness. Consciousness is in, reality is in consciousness. Current scientific model says consciousness is something that happens inside reality. It's kind of cool, it's really far out, it's amazing, I wonder what it is. But it's some weird thing that happens inside this universe as consciousness springs up. Vedic idea says, no, this universe is something that springs up inside consciousness. Consciousness is the root, it's the experiencer, the things which are experienced are in it. So Vishnu is that consciousness. So he's the root of everything, the bottom of everything.